So Trey Lance is not competing with Dak Prescott this year. I don't think Trey Lance is competing with Dak Prescott next year. You know, if anything, he has to come in and prove that he can beat Cooper Rush. Why is this important? Well, because he couldn't beat Sam Darnold, right? And let me just talk to all Cowboy fans for a second, right? I know it's cool to hate on Dak Prescott, and I'm not talking about people outside of Cowboy Nation. I ain't talking about us. I'm talking about the people on the, you know what I'm saying? I'm talking about the ones that's Cowboy fans outside of this circle of ours, because I like to feel like we have rational things to say. I'm talking about those Cowboy fans that's just kind of, you know, watching the news and letting outside fan base and these outside narratives control them. Even if you think Dak Prescott is trash, and even if you think Trey Lance is here to take Dak Prescott's job, why would you still rush Trey Lance? See, my whole thing, you know, I think Trey Lance, you know, the whole idea of him is he has upside. He has athletic traits. Think about Trey Lance and the quarterbacks in the East, right? NFC East. Dak Prescott, Jalen Hurts, Daniel Jones, right? Sam Howell, if you want to count him. Trey Lance has the highest draft profile out of all those guys. He was the highest draft prospect out of all those guys, right? Just in terms of a projected player, he's higher than all of them. And that dude's a Cowboy now, right? For whatever reasons, right? Quarterbacks fail and succeed in the league for whatever reason. Maybe it was too much pressure on him. Maybe it was the injuries. Maybe it was the playbook that Shanahan was running in particular. I don't know the answers, right? I don't know the answers to why Trey Lance wasn't ready to go fresh out the box, right? But a lot of these quarterbacks aren't ready to go fresh out the box. These guys need time. They need to sit down. They need, you know, some type of leadership in front of them, and maybe he just wasn't getting that in San Francisco. I think this would be a good place for him to get some of that leadership, right? Which is a fantastic reason for Trey Lance to not just walk right in. First of all, Trey not even better than Dak Prescott. That's just facts. He's not better than Dak Prescott right now. You know what I'm saying? And you know, can he become better than Dak Prescott? Well, that's the point of giving up a low risk 4th round pick for the high upside of Trey Lance, right? But think about Trey Lance in San Francisco. If shit goes wrong in San Francisco, who do you have to talk to? Who can you run to? I ain't letting Jimmy teach me shit.
Did you hear what I said?
What you gonna run to Brock Purdy? You've been here longer than him. You know what I mean? So who do you go to, right? Here, man, there's an offense coordinator and an offensive play caller that happen to be the head coach. And you got this leader quarterback in Dak Prescott. This ain't me shooting at Jimmy Garoppolo's leadership skills, right? But I will say that I have played football before. And typically with the dudes that get to wave their finger and fuss at people, you got to be a good player, right? If Micah Parsons wave his finger at you, you kind of got to listen to Micah Parsons. You know what I'm saying? Parsons, pardon me. Junior Fehoko can't go around telling people what to say just yet. It's just not his time, right? So when I look at Cooper Rush, who's an old head, I look at Dak Prescott, he's king here. He's big leader here. He's big guy here, right? Trey Lance, now he can go through a season healthy, right? He can go through all this, you know, not practice squad, but like scout team stuff, right? He can absorb the offense in that way, absorb this Dan Quinn defense in that way. And we can slowly but surely change how he becomes an NFL quarterback, right? Because he got the traits. He has traits, but how many quarterbacks have we seen have traits and they get forced into this role? They get forced into this role as face of the franchise. And not to mention Trey Lance, that last year at North Dakota State, I believe he sat out that year too. So, I mean, it's just a lot of choppy football that's been happening the past couple years with Trey Lance. He got the skill set. He got the arm. He got the size. He has the athletic ability. And I think the athletic ability part is important also, because even if you ain't got the other stuff, you can improvise and work your way out of this. I'm going to show you a bunch of clips showing that, right? So in my mind, I'm thinking to myself, right? Trey Lance, breath of fresh air, brand new environment, better supporting cast in terms of dudes around him. I don't know, man. Cowboys offense might be a little better too. Hey, you only get 2 hollers for that. I wasn't gonna play the whole war call, you know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying though, right? Like, maybe this is what Trey needed. Maybe Trey needed that Jordan Love treatment, right? Jordan Love just gets to sit behind a Pro Bowler type quarterback and just soak up all the information, no pressure. And then when it's time to do what he's, whatever he's gonna do, hey, it's your time, right? Now, what happens when Trey Lance turns into that guy? Hey, that's 3 years down the line, Playboy. We ain't gotta talk about that. You know what I'm saying? Either he's gonna be the guy, or he's gonna be get a draft pick back for us, a high draft pick back for us. Or he's gonna be comp pick guy, or Trey Lance is going to be backup quarterback forever. And that's fine too. Hey, that's fine too. It's a 4th round pick, right? You want to trade 4th round picks for that backup quarterback security, just in case, if he's banished to the elephant graveyard and that's just what Trey Lance is, and fine, that's just what Trey Lance is a 4th round pick. It's a Junior Fajoko. You ain't hurting here, right? You ain't hurting here. It's a Matt Waletzko. It's a Josh Ball. You ain't hurting here, right? So, when do we expect Trey Lance to play? When do we expect Trey Lance to step in and take over? It's a loaded question, right? First of all, you got to ask yourself, and I may have labeled this, I'm not clickbaiting nobody, but I do think this is an answer that people are asking, right? When does Trey Lance take over? It's a long time before I think Trey Lance starts for anybody. And note I said anybody. I don't think Cowboys, right? Because I think Dak Prescott got a long way to go. Y'all out here talking like Dak 39, like he got Tom Brady amount of years left. You know what I'm saying? No. I think Trey Lance, if this works out successfully, I think the Cowboys will get a high pick and Trey Lance will be starting for some other team. And that's fine. You just flip the 4th into something better like that. Hey, it's just roster dynamics. It is what it is. But a lot of people ask the question, if Trey Lance was to take over for the Cowboys, when will he take over? And what will that look like? Well, this could be Dak Prescott insurance, right? Dak Prescott, he's been getting injured of late. Hey, if you need Trey Lance to be a guy for 5 weeks, can he be a guy for 5 weeks? I think he can. You know what I'm saying? Simply because we're looking at Trey Lance's skill set as we peep in the film and all that. We're thinking about his skill set, right? If we can keep things simple, because Trey Lance can make some throws. Trey Lance is high upside guy. He's talented. He can make big boy throws. What happens with the read? What happens with the awareness? What happens with the offense? That's between him and Shanahan. I wasn't here when they was having this discussion, right? And of course, like, just do what you would do if Cooper Rush was playing quarterback. You're probably gonna lean on Micah Diggs, Lamb, and Tony anyway, right? Like that's what you do in case of emergency. But then Trey Lance has the legs, right? Trey Lance has legs to get himself out of this situation. So to answer your question, when does he take over? Well, think about this. When does he take over for Cooper Rush? I think that's an interesting answer, right? Think about a quarterback that gets drafted to a team. They get drafted in late April? Let's just say May 1st, right? So May all the way to June, July, August, September, right? That's 4 months. You know what I'm saying? So in my mind, it takes 3 to 4 months. Let's just hypothetically, right? Let's just say it takes 3 to 4 months to get these guys acclimated, right? So Trey Lance around to the end of this season, right? Let's just say around week 16, 17, 18. If there's a scenario in which we need him, I think this would be a good damn time to see what Trey Lance can do, especially if we ain't fighting for a playoff spot or something like that. Because I tell you what makes me sick. Cooper Rush winning ball games. That's what makes me sick. Not that I'm mad because we win ball games, just Cowboy fans, like they like to get a little ignorant about Cooper Rush winning ball games, right? Cooper Rush winning ball games don't net earn you nothing. Trey Lance winning ball games, hey, we can talk a little bit now. We can talk. You just get one holler. We can talk a little bit now, right? So how soon? This is the real point of this question here, the point of this video and the point of this film. How long will it take? How soon will it happen, right? For Trey Lance to take over Cooper Rush's spot. That's what I think this is all about. This can't be about Dak Prescott. Dak is too much in his groove right now. Dak's even a better offense. He offense coordinator than Kellen Moore. He a better offense coordinator than Kellen Moore right now. This ain't got nothing to do with Dak. This ain't got nothing to do with Dak. Especially this year or next year. You're fighting Cooper Rush right now. And Cooper Rush, if I'm just keeping it a buck, man, Cooper Rush barely beat Will Greer this year.
Did you hear what I said?
Barely. And that news ain't even official yet. I'm just saying. Cooper Rush barely beat Will Greer this year, right? So if you're Trey Lance, it's your job to soak up all this game, sit back, zero expectation, stay healthy, go through practices, right? Because when you're injured, you can't even practice. The mental reps you're getting as hurt guy, you just watching. I want Trey Lance, hey, when we're, what week is this? When we in week Kyler Murray ain't going to be there. When we in week 1 and damn week 15, so week 1 for the Giants, week 15 for the Bills, week 14 for the Eagles, maybe 13 if you want to count Geno as one of those guys. Bryce Young for week 11, the Giants again at week 10, the Eagles week 9. We're going to be playing a bunch of scrambling quarterbacks. Tua ass shouldn't be running, but we playing against him in week 16, bro. All these quarterbacks that can run, we playing against them. This is a perfect time for Trey Lance to get these practice reps, to get these scout team reps. Hey, Trey, we're playing against a running quarterback this week. We need you to be running quarterback this week. And that's going to be the reps that Trey Lance gets. As opposed to, I'm hurt, I'm just standing on the sideline watching. Let him throw passes against Dan Quinn's defense. Let him get acclimated in that way and sit behind Cooper Rush. Then in those offensive meetings, let him load up on that playbook. Let him load up on these things. So when it's time for him to take a spot, it's Cooper Rush's spot. It's not going to be Dak's spot. It never was about Dak's spot. Jerry Jones come out here and tell you all he wants to, hey, man, we just die. Boom, boom, boom. Stephen Jones came out, I be damn. I be damn. You only get 2 hollers. It is what it is. But, hey, that's what I'm looking for right now. So if we're really rooting for Trey Lance, we don't want Trey Lance to be thrown in the fire. We want the best for Trey Lance, which would be the best for this team. The best thing we could possibly get from this team is for Trey Lance to reach his full potential. I almost said trade his ass for a couple first-round picks. I don't know. It depends, right? Hey, how crazy Trey Lance getting, you know what I'm saying? If Trey Lance, you know what I mean, we'll cross that road. But I think the very first thing, if we all are in favor of Trey Lance and the best outcome we could possibly get for Trey Lance, we want him to whoop Cooper Rush, not Dak Prescott. I just want to show y'all a little bit of film while I talked about it. Trey Lance needed a lot of work, but he can get that this year. He can get that this year just sitting down, going to practice and going against Dan Quinn and the boys, all right? That's all I got for y'all today, man. Appreciate y'all. Love you to pieces. I'm going to be watching more Trey Lance film in the Patreon this week, patreon.com/Voch Lombardi. I think we're going to be watching Trey Lance Wednesday. We're going to be watching offensive line Monday and like D-line Tuesday or something. So just tune in, be around, and if we got to, reschedule any of those things, hey, just keep notifications on in Patreon, all right? And besides that, we just got regular volume stuff, so be sure to tune in. And football's right around the corner. Preseason is over. We got another week just to get our last-minute affairs out the way, and before you know it, it's going to be time to suit up and beat the shit out the Giants. Y'all hold it down for the Doski Wilson Peace Whiskey. Till next time.